guys, welcome back to my channel. We are doing some flower nails with some ombre and bling today. It is giving me all the summer kind of sunset, little bit of pink lemonade vibes. Before we get into the video, please be sure to hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss out when I upload a video. I think right now about 95% of my viewers are not subscribed. So if you guys like my content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out. So what you just saw was me using some dehydrator on my nails. They were previously prepped. I did remove my old set and use my e-file to clean up the nails and my cuticle area and everything like that. But I'm not going to put it in every video because I do have a couple videos that are very detailed in the prepping process, and I will have that linked in the iCards above for you guys if you would like to see that. So now I am just using some glue with my very favorite not polish universal nail tips. These are great for basically any shape. The shape I'm going to be doing today is going to be a tapered square look. I'm kind of obsessed a bit with the tapered square coffin nails right now, but I have been missing my stilettos, so maybe I will go back to that shape soon. We'll have to wait and see. So once I get those all applied, I will go ahead and start cutting them down to the length that I like, and then I will use a hand file to blend the edges and make sure that it transitions onto my natural nail bed properly. These not polished nail tips are some of my favorites. One, because the sidewalls, the lower sidewalls, are straight rather than curved, and also because I don't know what kind of plastic they use, but it is very sturdy but also very thin. I absolutely love it. It makes it so easy to blend into the nail bed when I'm going through that step. I do straighten out and file down the tip first before blending it in. I just find that if I blend and then try to file down the very free edge tip, that sometimes they can pop off. So I go through and shape them first, then I use my hand file to blend that into the natural nail bed. And I will be showing all 5 nails in the video again today. I have been getting some feedback that you guys have enjoyed when I show all of the nails, so I will be doing that. The only step I will not be showing on all of the fingers today is going to be in the finish filing. I will show you guys how I finish file on the one nail, but it is quite sped up. So if you guys want a filing video, I will leave a link to the iCards for the video that I showed you guys my filing process. So now that that's all done, I'm just using some alcohol to cleanse the nails of all of the filing dust. And now I'm using my Young Nails Protein Bond. It is my favorite primer. And I will coat my nails twice with that, though I'm only just going to show you the one coat because it's basically the same thing over again. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my gel base coat. This is my Vita Gel by Gelish, and it is my favorite. I've had a lot of good luck with it, and I do 2 layers of this. So I put it on all the nails, cure it for the 30 seconds that it requires, and then I go in with a second layer. For me, it has just helped stop any lifting. When I was using 1 layer of this, I was getting some pretty severe lifting. And then I was reading some reviews on Amazon, and some people had mentioned that 1 coat for them was giving them lifting, 2 coats was not. And I've had the same experience. When I do 2 coats, I don't get the lifting, but when I just do the 1, I do. So if you're going to use this as a base coat, just make sure you do that double coat. And you'll notice I flip my brush around a couple different times here. It's because the way the brush is cut, one side of it has hairs that are just slightly longer than the other side, so it's easier for me to use those kind of longer hairs to get up around the cuticle area, and it just gets really nice and tight without touching. So I did get a small spot where it was touching my cuticle area, so I just used my polygel brush to clean that up. I used the polygel brush because we are using polygel today for this set, which I hope you guys are excited to see. This is the light yellow shade by Saviland. I absolutely love this formula. I've worked with quite a few of the shades in the set, and I do love it. Of course, everything will be linked for you guys down in the description box below. Also, I want to mention I do now have an Amazon storefront. So if you have any questions about the products I use or what my favorites are, I have an Amazon storefront. It is always linked in the description box. And I have so many categories on there for different nail related items that I love to work with, from bits to files to products to nail art and bling. Like, it's all on there. And I even have a section for like camera equipment and things like that. So be sure to check that out if you guys have any questions about what I'm using or my favorite products. But I do also link all of the products individually that I use. So for these ombre nails, I start by applying the yellow shade, just a thin strip right down the center of the nail. Then I use my brush to pat and press that into shape. Then I also make sure that I use my brush to feather back the product where it is laying on my natural nail. That way I don't have to worry about any kind of harsh lines when I go in for the next part of the ombre. After I apply this product to each nail, I do flash cure it for 30 seconds just to help keep it in place. And then once I am done with all 3 of these ombre nails, I will go in with that full 60-second cure. I do the flash cure first just to help keep it in place before moving into that next nail. So if it gets bumped or anything later on, it's not gonna matter. This formula is really great. It is nice and firm. Some shades are softer than others, but I do really like working with the more firm consistencies, and it stays in place really well because it's not super soft. It doesn't run around. So even if I decided I wanted to do all 3 of these nails without curing in between, I absolutely could. It's just like right now I'm putting my hand down on the table, and so that would be ruined on the other 2 fingers had I not flash cured them. So I always do that just to make sure everything stays in place while I work. So once I get this one all patted out, then we will start applying my next shade for the ombre. So as you guys know, Gershion I feature a lot on my channel. It is one of my favorite brands, and this is their Cover Pink Polygel. It is such a beautiful color. I don't see many polygels that is quite the same as this shade. Like, it's got a very peachy pink to it. It's just gorgeous. And when I was applying this, I was just like, wow, this totally reminds me of like pink lemonade, and I am loving it. So on this thumbnail, I did apply too large of a bead. It did end up being too much product, and I will go in and fix it later. I really could have just removed some while it was still wet here on the nail, but I didn't. So just know you don't need quite this much product. The amount that I apply to the pointer and the pinky is much better. So just pay more attention to the way that I apply it on those ones and ignore this one. It's a throwaway nail. I'm just joking. I fixed it in the end, so it was okay. So basically what I do is I press the product into the cuticle area first. When I apply the bead, I apply it right in that apex area, and I press it back into the cuticle area. I make sure it is completely flush with the natural nail. Then I press along the side walls, making sure it is nice and thin in those areas. Then I carry it down the surface of the nail all the way to the tip. And if you'll notice sometimes I'll lay the brush down on the paper and use my finger to kind of push on it. That's because there's product stuck in there, and I need to get that out before I continue to pat and press the product into place. So again, just using a kind of medium to large bead in the back, then I press it around the cuticle area and sidewalls. Then you'll see that I start pulling from the front down along the tip of the nail, making sure that it fades to just the yellow color by itself. The yellow shade that I used is applied super, super thin, and it is not thick enough to have enough strength on its own. I will build on this later with a clear gel to help give the structure and strength that we need. But for now, we are just keeping that yellow nice and thin and then fading that cover pink right over the tip. And you'll notice when I'm pulling it forward, I pull it all the way to the end of the nail, and then I go and kind of swipe off the very tip and make sure that it's just the yellow shade by itself at that very tip. That gets me a really nice blend, a really seamless ombre. Also, when you are working with these polygels, you do want to have quite a bit of alcohol or slip solution in your brush. However, you don't want to just dip into the alcohol and then go right onto the nail. If you flood this product with alcohol or slip solution, it will cause a breakdown of the product, and you'll either get some like white streaking, or you will end up with uncured product or lack of strength in the nails. So it's just important, when I dip into the alcohol, I flip my brush over and dab off one side. Then I flip it back over on the side that I have not dabbed off. I use that to press into the polygel. I've said this before and I will say it again, it would not be one of my videos if Tatiana was not making an appearance. So I'm going to go ahead and cure that for 60 seconds. Now we're going to get into the fun part. I'm going to be using a glossy thick gel. This beautiful glitter mix. It's like yellow with some duochrome, like bluish reflect in it. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then these flowers by ModelOnes. So I'm going to start by applying a very thin layer of this glossy thick gel. I'm basically just painting it on the same way that you would do a slip layer, but this is going to be my base for these nails. So once I paint that on, I'm going to cure it, and then I will go in with a second layer like this. I wanted this down first because I always like to have a thin covering of product on my nails. That way when I file off old designs, I've got a thin layer to file back to that is going to protect my nails from being over filed. Now that that has been cured, I selected the flowers that I'm going to put into these nails, and then I am using, again, a very thin layer like a slip layer would be, and then I'm going to press those nail art pieces into the uncured gel. I like using gel for methods like this and types of designs like this where you're going to encapsulate, because I can press the products into that uncured gel and it really grabs onto it for me. I have encapsulated and done inlays with acrylic before. However, you have to work in such small beads and it can be a little bit more time consuming. So I prefer to work with a builder gel or a hard gel when I'm doing inlaid encapsulated designs. And then when you have those bigger flowers like the orange one I pressed in, these are real flowers that have been dried. So in the center underneath that flower, there is like a little stem there, and you can't really cut it off because then the flower is going to fall apart. So I basically allowed that center area to be a little bit more lifted up, and then I just press the petals around it. It's all going to be encapsulated with gel later, so it doesn't have to lay completely flat. Just try to get it as flat as you can and you'll be okay. So we're just going to do the same thing on the other nail, just pressing that stuff into the wet gel. So I've got all of those art pieces placed how I want them. I did cure for 60 seconds, and now I'm going in with a glossy thin gel. I'm using the thin rather than the thick because I need this to sink into all of the areas where those flowers are and everything, and like really encapsulate everything well. If it's too thick of a consistency, you'll end up with air bubbles in there and you will not have the strength that is needed in those nails. So I go in with the glossy thin instead, and I apply a thin layer, again just like a slip layer, and then I cure that, and then I go in and build on it from there. I always just start with that thin layer just to make sure everything is coated properly and cured down first. Now I'm going in with a real slip layer, painting that product on, and then I'll grab a bigger bead and float it down the surface of the nail. This is going to help add the strength and structure that we need so that these nails will be properly balanced and properly built. And I don't apply super thick layers when using gels because, one, you can end up with a really high heat spike if you apply too much, and two, it's easier for me to work with less product and do 2 layers rather than working with more product and trying to chase it down the nail and keep it from running into the sidewalls.
I'ma say less, let me show it. You can be my queen if it's fun with you. Maybe I'm just trying to spend time with you. Stepping out with your girlfriend. You got work in the morning. I pull up on you like Jordan. Just to show you you're gorgeous. God ain't cutting no corners. Let me know what's up. Playing hard to get. Why you acting tough?
So I am going to encapsulate this ombre. I'm going to protect the ombre with my hard gel, but on this thumb, like I said, I did add too much product, so I'm just going to use my hand file and file down this apex area so that it is properly structured and not too high. So when I am doing this, I am not touching the yellow, and I am not touching the center area where this cover pink meets the yellow. I am only filing that apex area. Once I've gotten that kind of lowered down to where it needs to be, I'm going to use that same glossy thin hard gel, and I'm going to start by creating a slip layer. Now the only thing I'm doing here is protecting my ombre and also adding the thickness to the tip. Like I said, that yellow layer was far too thin to be properly structured. So I paint on that slip layer right up to kind of where that ombre starts, just a little bit higher. And I go a little bit higher than where that ombre starts just to make sure that when I go through with my filing, I'm not going to lose any of that blend.
Everything I believed in, but you said shut it off, you're too old for dreaming. So I did my best.
So it's a full 60-second cure, and now we're going to remove the inhibition layer from all of the nails, and we will get into our filing. I always start my filing with a hand file. This is a 100 grit Tammy Taylor peel and stick, my very favorite. And I'm going to straighten up my sidewalls and also the tip of the nail. Once I have everything straight, I will start with my E-file. I am using a medium fine 5-in-1 ceramic bit. I work up one sidewall, then back around the cuticle, and then down the other sidewall. Then I will follow through over the entire surface of the nail. I'm going to first go in these vertical strokes to shape the nail the way that I need it to be. I want to leave that apex with the bulk of the product nice and high and strong. Then I work that down to the tip so that it kind of angles downward and leaves my tip nice and thin. Once I am done with the vertical strokes, I do go horizontal just because it helps smooth out any lines that would have been left by those vertical strokes. Then once I am done with my e-file and my nail has properly been shaped, I will go in with my hand file. It will be a 180 grit Tammy Taylor peel and stick file. I'm just going to do these vertical strokes over the entire surface of the nail, then following that through back along the cuticle to make sure that is perfectly blended into my natural nail and that there is no ledge at all. After that file, I use a 100 grit buffer to buff over the surface of the nail so that I have a nice smooth surface for my gel top coat. I go ahead and use alcohol and my brush to cleanse the nails really super well, and I make sure to do it on the underside as well, particularly for designs like this when I'm going to have those two glass nails with the flowers in them. Now we're going to go in with some bling application using my same favorite McCart rhinestone gel. I'll let you guys watch while I apply my bling.
Never been the type for giving up. Complicated situations only make it worse, cause just getting started is not enough. I'll be around when you need me, promise there won't be no leave. Even on my worst days, 2 a.m. my shift phase, tripping off something that you done, yeah. I would never listen my work compass and run out on you. I know we got a problem. I would never walk out on you. I wanna let you know, even when it gets hard and we wanna let go, I still love you like crazy. I wanna let you know, even when it gets hard and we wanna let go. Even though you're stressed about the small shit sometimes, nothing I could say to you could change up your mind. I'll get on your nerves and then we'll fight. Give you all the space you need in on those nights, yeah. Even on your worst days, when you get in my face, tripping on something that I've done, yeah. I would never listen my work compass and run out on you. I know we got a problem. I still love you like crazy. I wanna let you know, even when it gets hard and we wanna let go, I still love you like crazy. Love you like crazy.
So now that I've gotten all that applied, I'm going to go in with my very favorite Young Nails stain resistant top coat. You guys, if you have not tried this, like, you need this top coat in your life. It is my favorite for a reason. It gives the smoothest surface, the glassiest effect, and there's no staining to your nails. Like, I have a couple hairdressing clients that I do their nails, and they would be stained to hell if it weren't for this top coat. So it's my very favorite. So for my nails that I have my bling, I use the brush that comes in the bottle to push that top coat right up along the edges. Then I get a detail brush and I kind of scoop some of the top coat off the length of the nail and just use it to get around and behind all of those little bling pieces. That will help to keep them on for the entire time that you wear your set. Time for the big reveal with the flower nails. I love this. I love it. I love the glass nails. I've got glass nails on both of my hands right now, but both of my hands are different. At least they're shaped the same, okay? Usually I've got like one long, one short, one stiletto, one coffin. It's just all over the place. But right now I have got the same length tapered square nails on both hands. One's purple, one's yellow, but you know, at least they're the same shape and size.
You're not like those other guys. If I'm being honest, you're all that I wanted, 'cause you make me wanna change. I broke a few hearts or two. Now I'm gonna get this right. No, I'm not a raw martyr.
I am going to apply a very, very thin layer of this top coat to the underside of my glass nails. If you could see what I was doing there, I was scraping off the brush almost completely, leaving barely any product on there. Then I coat the undersides and the tip, and then before I go in and cure, I'm going to wipe off the sides of the nail just to make sure that there was no product that went up around those sides when I was coating that underside. Now I'm going to cleanse them one more time with alcohol. We'll apply some cuticle oil and we will be all done. Make sure you guys let me know what you think down below. I am loving this set. I'm loving the summer vibes. And here you can see it, guys. Look, my nails have the same size and shape. Oh my god, it is a miracle. My question for you guys is, do you want to see me do some 4th of July nails? If you do, I can definitely do that on my practice hand for you. And if not, that's okay too. I just want to make videos that you guys want to see. But that's basically it. So let me know what you guys think down below. Of course, if you have any questions, suggestions, or requests for different sets, let me know down below. I love to hear from you guys. Be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys all next time. Bye!